This is Johanna Thomas talking fertility with Dr. Holly Lucille, a licensed naturopathic doctor and consultant in the natural product industry who has a fabulous clinic in Beverly Hills, is a chat show host, author and much more. We are both on the same wavelength, believing in the healing power of nature and comprehensive common sense medicine. But for me personally, this chat is very poignant as I am currently detoxing before trying to get pregnant towards the end of the year. Holly, welcome to the Way Forward show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, you are in the UK, having been sponsored by one of my favorite natural product brands, the ethical Viridian Nutrition, on a tour to educate their store partners about the fertility crisis. Now, men, this is for them as well. It's not all down to us women, is it? So, Holly, tell us, what is this fertility crisis?
Yeah, anytime I hear about a crisis, I always think, guess what? There is an opportunity. And so it's true, not only in the UK, but around the world, there is a fertility crisis. People over 60 to 80 million couples are having a difficult time conceiving when they want to so badly. And so this is a crisis. But from my point of view, and I know from yours because we have chatted, we want to identify and treat the cause. What is informing this crisis? And so through my research and certainly through my clinical evidence in my practice, environment, our diet, our lifestyle, sometimes nutrient deficiencies are all informing the crisis, as well as, of course, that people are waiting longer to start a family. And so it is a crisis, but guess what? We've got the tools to do something about it.
Amazing. So now you mentioned the three factors for fertility: diet, lifestyle, and environment. Obviously, we can't cover everything today because there's hundreds of them, and to biohack everything would take too long. But if we look at the diet first, what are we consuming that is harmful to our fertility? How is it harmful, and what should we be eating more of, do you think?
Well, I think what I'm seeing is that people are going for, somewhat of a more refined food diet. So it's a double whammy because it's nutritionally valueless. So we don't get the great nutrients that we need on a daily basis to optimize our biochemistry, especially our fertility in this case. And then also refined food products, fried food, saturated fats that cause oxidative stress or inflammation in the body that also impact sperm quality and egg quality. And so what we should be doing is moving towards a plant-forward, plant-based, full of color, full of quality diet, diets that are high in omega-3 fatty acids. So those good sourced fish, cold water fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, things like that, but plenty of plants. So we need to get those nutrients in on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think it's all about quality, isn't it? I mean, even if you have a bit of meat, it can't be this hormone, antibiotic-fed chicken. It has to be quality, pasture raised, beef, whatever it is. I think it's got to be quality.
Right. Because we basically are what they eat. If when you're sourcing your proteins, I think the quality is the key at this point in time.
For sure, and your baby will end up being a product of whatever you've been eating. So.
That's right, and that's the kind of double-edged sword in a way, because if you nourish yourself well, then you can actually nourish your baby well. But it's the same way on the other side. If you're not nourishing yourself well, if you're deficient in nutrients, your baby is going to develop in that way, and that's what we want to try to prevent for sure.
Definitely. So if we look at the lifestyle factors, what are some of the dangers there, and what should we be doing?
Well, I picked on alcohol, I picked on exercise, I picked on caffeine just a little bit, over 500 milligrams, so not a lot there, but stress is the biggest thing. Because in a nutshell here, stress makes your body go from a thriving perspective hormonally, where you can get pregnant, and it puts in a survival place, physiologically. And when you're in a survival place, reproduction is a very optimistic goal. It's almost like, your body thinks you're running from a bear, and it's not going to have those key components in place for you to get pregnant. So the biggest thing is everybody needs to get into that nice parasympathetic place where you can rest, relax, and repair. Look, this is our modern day. We've got a lot going on. But in order to get pregnant, we need progesterone, and progesterone has the ability to be converted into a stress hormone if needed. So you've got a sex steroid hormone being usurped, and a lot of times in my clinical practice, that's what I'm seeing.
And what about the environmental factors? Because I think a lot of people overlook this, and it is an area of concern. So how can we protect ourselves there?
Right. So that's a big one, I think. There's a lot of environmental influences. So, of course, reducing exposure as much as we can, because there's a lot of things we don't have control over. But, making sure you're protecting yourself and your household from EMFs, making sure that those known toxins, those estrogen mimickers, endocrine, that's our hormone disruptors like BPA, are free from your household, from your food products, from the things that you eat, drink, and consume. Because if you're drinking them, eating them, they're inside your cells. They're going to disrupt your hormone balance, and we need balance in our hormone system more than anything in order to get pregnant.
Definitely. And if we're looking at, someone's looking at sort of detoxing, ideally it should be done before pregnancy, shouldn't it? You don't detox when you're pregnant. That's when you nourish, right?
No, you're brilliant in that way, and I love that you're doing this and preparing yourself and your partner for this process. Because we're in a crisis, there's somewhat of a new category, in my opinion. It's a pre-conception phase or a pro-conception phase where let's not even think about trying. Let's just grease the skids for success. I've given the example of you won't just send a kid off to a sports team. They go through a what? They go through a sports physical, a school physical. We need to make sure everything's checking out before we throw, somebody into that environment. So we need to make sure that the terrain is there, the milieu is good, that the bodies are well and optimal from a nutrient perspective to have healthy eggs, healthy sperm, healthy people, therefore healthy babies.
Definitely. I don't think enough people think about that. But what do you suggest as being a safe, quick, and effective way to do this, apart from just obviously removing, for example, the toxins like the plastic, not drinking out of plastic bottles, etc. But what else?
Yeah, so I say 4 months. So 4 months, 3 to 6 months, but 4 months. Stop smoking if you are. Stop drinking a lot if you are. Decrease your stress, plan it out, and then make sure you're changing your diet and getting those nutrients in. Plus, a lot of people don't have the time to do that, so I say supplement your lifestyle. They're wonderful. You mentioned Viridian. There are wonderful preconception multivitamins, both for men and for women, that can optimize the ingredients that are needed to make this process optimal, so to make it happen. So zinc, selenium, folic acid, all of those things that sometimes are missing in the diet, and maybe because of the compromised soil that we have, or the compromised food chain that we have, and then sometimes our compromised choices. Yeah. And so make sure you supplement your lifestyle, supplement this phase, increase the pathways of detoxification that are very nutrient driven, and give yourself that good 4 months before you even think about trying.
Definitely. And you mentioned in the talk when I was listening the other night a lot about fatty acids. What's the importance of those?
Oh my gosh, so I couldn't say enough about fatty acids on this tour, because from a developmental perspective in your utero with the baby, but also just remember, every single cell in our body has a bilipid layer membrane, and that is made from the fats that we consume. It's kind of like that old computer thing, garbage in, garbage out. So if you're eating saturated fats that are hard and not pliable, communication, development are going to be kind of cattywampus in a sense. And so those nice omega-3 anti-inflammatory fatty acids are so important, and it's important to supplement through pregnancy, of course, preconception, yes, and then those first 2 to 3 years of development where visual acuity is being in the cognitive ability of babies. It's so important to have, especially docosahexaenoic acid, or DHA, is extremely important.
And where can someone get that from? What are the sources for that?
So once again, those great sources, either, you can certainly do vegan sources if needed, flax seeds, pumpkin seed, and walnuts, but also supplements. I know Viridian has the trout oil, the Scandinavian oil that is so good. And you can get that for the mom, for the dad, and also for supplemental dosage for the newborns as well.
Yeah, I'm taking that too. So I have to say that Viridian do have it covered. They have everything that a man and woman need to facilitate with good fertility, a healthy, happy pregnancy, and beyond. So I just tell the listeners that their website is www.viridian-nutrition.com, so that they can go there and find out more information. And their Instagram is Viridian Nutrition, all one word. But what about you, Holly? Where can people find out about you, get in touch? What's your website, social media, etc.?
Sure. My website is probably the best. It's just drhollylucille.com. That's HOLLYLUCILLE.com.
Fantastic. And finally, what is the future for Dr. Holly? Have you got a new book on the horizon, or?
Well, I've written a couple books in the past, and I decided that behind a computer or behind is not my best. It's not my best self. I love my clinical practice. I love being able to educate. So I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, understanding that if we follow easy principles like identify and treat the cause and treat the whole person, and prevention is the cure, and using the first, the least invasive methods to diagnose and treat. So I love educating and I love helping people, and I think I'm just going to do that for a bit, and we'll see what happens. But I really appreciate your time.
Well, fabulous, and all the best of that. I have to say your talk the other night was very enlightening, and you're wonderful at what you do, so thank you so much.
And you as well, and good luck, and I know you're going to rock it, so I really respect the time and the attention you're taking to take care of yourself, because it's going to help the world and it's going to help your baby.
Yeah, I know it'll all be worth it. Well, thank you so much, and I wish you a wonderful trip back home. This is Johanna,
all right,
your resident holistic nutritionist for The Way Forward. Thanks, Holly.